Elizabeth, much like the other meetings, if you would be so kind as the board president to get the meeting started and then proceed to the committee chair election. Unless you don't want to, I can do that for you if you like, or John could, however you want to do it.
Okay.
Is there any way that you can speak louder, Frank?
Yes, I will. I will project a little bit more.
That's better.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 3:00. Is the meeting being recorded? Yes. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Keystone. It's the Public Personnel Committee meeting for January 27th. I'm calling the meeting to order. I'd like to amend the agenda. I move the agenda to add committee goals to after.
Point of order.
Yes.
You shouldn't be doing that at this time. That should be after a chairman is elected and they're conducting the meeting.
Yes. Thank you. Robert's Rules of Order for committees says it's best to do it before the chair. But if you prefer to do it after the chair, that's fine. Does the committee prefer to do it after the chair?
Doesn't matter. John's waving there.
Yeah, I move to put a motion in to add Act 93 School Board Solicitor for representation.
I'll second that. I still have a motion on the floor to move to add the committee goals to the end of the agenda. Is there a second?
I'll motion that or second it.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to A2, election of committee chairs. Are there any nominations for committee chairs, please?
I'll nominate Chris.
Any other nominations? Nominations closed. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chris, you are the chair. This is your committee. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll go to B, personnel. The cafeteria job descriptions. Dr. Redmond, you're involved in this, and I have a couple questions.
Okay. So, do you want some background on this? Justin's here and Rachel's here. They can provide a little bit of background of why these are on here.
Yeah. Well, we can ask about this one first.
Okay.
I can't hardly even hear you, and I got my speaker system all the way up.
All right. I'm not sure why that's happening. Okay, I'll just try to speak really loudly.
Okay. I heard you say about Justin. I only have a couple questions on this, that's all.
Okay.
Does Justin want to hear my questions and then he can devise an answer there, or
Yeah, go.
what do you want to do? Go ahead, Justin.
No, I was just saying, if you have a question, I can try to answer it, and if I need to look into it a little further, then certainly can do that for you.
Okay. Up in the top under qualifications, it says about the high school diploma or GED demonstrate aptitude or competency for assigned responsibilities, ability to work cooperatively with administration and staff, a minimum of 5 years experience in a commercial kitchen and or school district food service department. But then it says obtain your serve safe certificate within 3 months. I think that should be just not obtained. If they have 5 years of experience, they should already have it. And then are we paying for somebody to do that and paying the time to do it? If they have to have 5 years experience in either one, they should already have a Safe Serve certification. So I think that should be a condition on being hired.
So I can follow up on that, Chris, but I believe that that certification is only, I don't know if it's renewed every year, that they have to have hours or complete a training. So I can find out those details to see exactly how that's completed for you, because I'm not familiar with the process. I just know that they do serve safe training every year, and it's mandatory for everyone that's works in the food
Right.
services department.
Yep, I'm very familiar with it.
So, Chris, if I could, I would like to leave that on as a either has it or can obtain it, because if there's someone who has not worked in the kitchen for a while but does have service, we don't want to block their candidacy just because they haven't been working in the kitchen for the last couple of years.
Okay. All right, so they could have worked in a kitchen 20 years ago and had 5 years, and we're gonna, if they're not up to date, they can be a candidate then?
They can be a candidate, but of course we'd go through the whole process of an interview and make sure that their skills are up to date and they're ready to go. I don't know. I wouldn't want to block out a qualified candidate because, for instance, they've been staying at home with a child for the last few years and want to come back into the workforce.
Okay. All right, well, I think that's something we should let Justin figure out on that. If you go down to number 14, assist with processing daily deposits, cash reconciliations, and bank deposits. Is this person bonded? Because if they're dealing with finances and doing deposits and all that, that person should be bonded if they're dealing with cash or checks.
Justin, do you know if that's a change from the current job description or if that's existing language?
So the only thing that are changes would be anything that's in red would be an addition.
Okay.
So what?
Well, that person should be bonded regardless. It protects the school and it protects them. So that should be on this list. If we're changing it as a requirement to be hired, they should be bonded when they're hired and be able to be bonded. Or you'd have to make it that the money comes to Joni and she deposits it, or Christy.
Justin, I see you're unmuted. So, Chris, I think that might be another thing where we want to look into what the rules are in terms of our past practice and why it's that way. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I just want to find out some more information about why it's written the way it is currently.
No problem. Number 22, it says participate with employee interviews and the hiring process, but they crossed out and participates in the safety committee. Why are we taking that out?
I don't think we want to require that every cafeteria manager participate in the safety committee. I think they should have representation, absolutely.
Okay.
If we put it on there as a requirement as part of the job description, that would suggest that every cafeteria manager has to be part of that committee. Rachel, what?
So I was just going to say, I'm on the safety committee, and I can tell you that Sharon herself is on there as the supervisor of food services. So anything that happens within the safety committee, she does take that back to the managers.
Okay, which safety committee are you talking about,
The
Rachel?
workplace safety committee.
Okay,
Yes.
So, yeah,
Chris,
this
this
is the
is
one
different
that,
than safety, and this is different than
right.
safety and security. So,
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought that, man, there's a whole lot of ways that somebody getting hurt. And I think somebody should be on that committee anyway.
yep, there is, like Rachel said, Sharon, who oversees all of the food service operations, is there, and I know that she meets with their managers weekly.
Okay. And the last one I had was 29. Again, we're talking about the Save Serve certification after obtaining certification with 3 months of hire. I think if Justin's going to look into that, and we're going to look into the idea of getting somebody bonded for carrying the cash, I think that we should park this and then table it until we get some answers from Justin. Hold it for the next meeting. And let Justin get some clarification and get some clarification on having an employee bonded that's handling all the cash. Because like I said, that protects that employee, number one. But number two, it protects the district. Because she could be carrying a substantial amount of money every now and then. Or he. I shouldn't say she. I don't know why it's never been done, but I know in most government things, anybody that deals with cash must be bonded.
We can certainly look into that.
Okay. So let's table this one till the next meeting. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes, but Chris, I had a quick question, please.
Sure, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I'm not sure if they could just explain why they only participate in the football concession stand. Number 27, I'm just curious.
Okay. Well, they assist with it. They're taking out participates in working and just assist with football concession stands. I don't know how many, I'll be honest, I don't know how many concession stands we have.
We have the two big ones, one at each stadium, and then we have one that's inside the high school. And those are pretty much the only ones. We'd have to look into find out why the concession stand outside the Central Mountain High School gym is not included.
Okay. Well, since there's so many questions on this, if anybody has any more, let's get them to Justin or Frank, and let's get these questions cleared up, and then we can come back to this. How's that sound? John?
I like it.
Elizabeth?
Yes, excellent idea.
Bill? Hey, Bill. Did we lose Bill?
He's still on the screen.
Okay.
No, I'm okay with what you said. You haven't lost me. For some reason, I wasn't unmuting with my space bar like it should have.
Okay, no problem. So you're all right with holding off on that till we get answers?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thanks. So, Rachel, would you hold that one till the next meeting so Justin can get us some answers? Move on to number 2.
Oh, Chair Chris,
Yeah, Elizabeth.
you have the other one, general cafeteria worker.
Oh, okay.
I had a comment if it was okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm not sure on the bottom. last line, second page, adopted by the board December 11th, 2025. I'm not sure. Just want to bring that to your attention.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had received these back in December, and when I worked with Sharon and Joni had reviewed these, and that was just the date they sent it to me.
Okay.
So I can take, I mean, I can, obviously that needs to come off of there until it's board approved.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why, if it was just done December of 25, why are we re-going through it?
It wasn't, Chris. That's when they sent the revised copy of the job description to me. That's when they worked on it, December 11th,
All right.
2025.
Okay. Anybody have anything else to add to that
Chair
or
Chris?
questions?
Chair Chris?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the applications job descriptions says who their supervisor is, who does their reviews, I believe, and the other one doesn't. So I don't know if that's standard operating process anymore for personnel committee, if it's in the job description on who actually does the review and when. Just wanted to bring that to your
Okay,
attention.
well, in the other one, let me back up to it here. The cafeteria manager does the reviews. It said that, I read it in there somewhere.
Yes, I believe you're absolutely clear. I don't think they're in both of them though, but just, that's it. I'm done. Thank you.
Both of them have a reports to on that top block. So it says reports to on the cafeteria manager. It says reports to the food and nutrition services supervisor.
Right.
And that same line in the cafeteria worker says cafeteria manager and head cook. So I think in the first one where you're only reporting to one, that is also your evaluator. But I think it's important to delineate that in the second one because the cafeteria worker reports to both the manager and the head cook. So we need to just delineate who's doing the eval there because there's two people
Right.
to report to.
Everything on this that's in yellow, Frank, is that new stuff?
I'll have to defer to Justin on that or Rachel.
So those would be tasks that were added and adjusted.
Okay. All right. John, any questions on it? And Justin's going to remove that bottom line until this is done.
Okay, I'm good with it.
Elizabeth?
No, it's very good. Thank you very much for asking.
All right. Hey, Bill?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So, Justin, if you'll remove that bottom line until we go through this, Rachel, would you please put this part of it up to first read, or Justin, do you want to hold this until we do the other one also?
Now, we can, if you're good with this one, other than removing that date, let's just move it through so it's one less thing that we have
Okay.
on the plate.
So Rachel, will you stick that on first read so we can move it through at the next board meeting, please?
Chris, just for clarity, it's not a policy that requires a first and second read. It can just
Okay.
go on the work study agenda, and then it can be adopted. The new job description can be approved by the board in the just
Okay.
normal work session, voting session.
All right, that's fine. So just ask Rachel to put it on there. All right, moving forward. Number 2, MOU for the support union. I read through this. I understand it, but my opinion on this is table it until we see what your staff study comes back with, so we know what we're doing and where it's at.
So, okay. fair enough. We know, just looking at the custodial part of the staffing study, custodial and maintenance worker, if we're actually understaffed in those areas.
Right?
And at this point, they're able to get the job done. So I don't know that I'm in a place where I would recommend an increase in terms of the number of personnel. All that to say that total cost per year estimate that's on the explanation is pretty solid.
Okay. Well, I'd like to just hang on until we're done and see where you're at with it.
Okay.
And then we can come back to it. One thing I did notice is we're in comparison, yeah, we're under a lot of those areas. But the other part of it is a lot of those areas that are listed here have a whole lot better area with businesses and everything to compete with. So I think seeing your staff and study completed will be a huge help in being able to do what we're doing here.
I agree 100%.
Elizabeth?
Staffing study first.
Elizabeth?
Well, yes, I definitely hear your point. So we all understand how much will actually go into the budget for payroll, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I had mentioned this at the finance committee meeting, I believe, where it's great that they're showing the neighboring school districts. It's really important, but they're not showing us, and I asked this last time, the health insurance package. Okay, if our school district is paying more per employee for health insurance, and if these folks can't opt out so they can make more money, that's one issue. The other issue is if those other school districts aren't investing as much in health insurance per employee, then it makes sense that their wage is going to be a little higher. So the point is, if you're going to compare this school district against that school district, the benefit package should also be taken into consideration. For example, if this school district that you're comparing to has a higher copay, they're not investing as much per employee for the health insurance, well, that means, yes, they can bump their wages up a little. But if this school district, our school district, is paying less for employee copay, but we're paying more, the taxpayers are paying more, then it actually might be balancing out. So again, that line is missing, and I'm requesting again the committee consider having that added to the table, comparing the health insurance programs and how much they're putting into them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Apples to apples. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good point. Justin, could you make that happen so we can compare it, all of the whole package at once?
I can see what I can find out from neighboring districts.
Okay. This is strictly just for property services, right? Or is this for the entire support union?
Now, this is specifically for custodial, grounds maintenance, and mechanical maintenance.
Okay.
To be the areas where attracting people who are staying has been an issue. It's been a pretty high revolving door.
Right.
And it's, again, a little different when you're doing custodial or maintenance work versus being support in a classroom as far as the demand and what you're doing and various things.
Right.
And I think that goes to Elizabeth's point a little bit too, that whether or not our benefits are better than surrounding district benefits, we're still having nobody apply for these positions. So whether or not benefits are higher or lower, people just aren't interested in, largely because of the salary, in coming here. When you look at that big of a difference, that there's that line in there. We've had a maintenance position posted since September of 2025 in anticipation of the retirement of a current employee and have not received any applications. So mechanical maintenance, if you look down where we are, starting pay at $17.50, the average starting pay is $4.23 above that per hour. So that's a big enough jump that I don't think it really matters what any difference is in benefits. If people can go to one of our surrounding districts and make $4 an hour more, they're going to do that.
Well, but also with that in mind and everything Elizabeth said, the surrounding areas have a much larger industrial sector to help pay for this.
Sure, absolutely.
We got
That's true.
Nicholas Meats and First Quality as our biggest businesses. And the bottom line is, I mean, we need more industry in Clinton County to help with all this. I don't know what the answer is to that because that goes to a county and state level.
Sure, but at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we're still in competition with people
Yeah.
that pay more for the jobs that we need people to come and work for us to do.
Right? How many custodians could you get us a sheet that shows us what the custodian levels are? Like
It's
how
right
many
there.
do we have? And
It's right there in the public content. So there's 37 custodians with 2 open positions and 3 retirements coming. There's 8 mechanical maintenance. One of them is
I'm
open
looking,
position.
I'm looking for those.
It's right underneath. It's so recommendations, and then there's A, B, and C is the line underneath that.
Okay. Are you talking the custodians currently like 3 and we have 210 custodians? And then 260?
Yeah, we have some custodians that work 210 days a year, and some custodians are year round.
Okay,
260.
so that's days, not
Yes.
the number of custodians.
That's correct.
Okay. So how many custodians do we truly have?
So look up a couple of lines from where you are. The line starts PSO maintenance / custodial / warehouse crew. It says there are 37 custodians.
30, okay, I see it now. All right.
And can I interject something?
Yeah, Bill, go ahead.
There's 3 future retirements, Frank. Is that like they're really right up against retirement and we're going to lose them in June?
Justin or Rachel, do we have retirement letters from them?
Yes, there are retirements that are coming over the next couple of months. I believe one was this month. We have one next month, and then I think one in, I want to say offhand, in April. So
Thank you very
they're
much.
literally like back to back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hmm.
All right. Chris, can I ask another question, please?
Yeah, Bill, go ahead.
Frank or Justin, either of you. Are we able, is this, with the open positions, we're able to, I think you said we're able to keep up with the work. Am I correct with that?
Well, you can see in there, the work orders that come in, we're just barely keeping up with, but that doesn't allow us to do the preventive maintenance that we would like to do.
Okay. So, and to the best of your opinion, are we working at maximum efficiency?
Yes, that's one of the things that I really appreciate about having Sam Hoy on the team is that he really pays attention to that, making sure that his crew is working as efficiently as possible.
Okay. All right. I think we're getting to the point where we're a rock and a hard place. I understand. I don't want to spend any more money than we have to, any more than anybody else does. But you got to have the people to do the work. And if we have positions that haven't been filled in 5 months now, and we're going to lose 3 more, we could be in trouble. So this proposed increase really puts us about, there's not a real mode there because they're all dollar. If you reduce the dollars and not dollars and cents, we're coming up around the mode there if we raise it. So I think we need to give serious consideration to this as much as we're trying to cut costs. It might be penny wise and pound foolish. If we're not doing preventive maintenance, it may cost us more in the long run than raising the salaries. That's just something I think we need to think about. Thank you.
Frank, are any of these positions on your list? Or, like I say, I hate to do something till we know what your recommendations are going to be for staffing that you're doing.
When you say on the lists, so yeah, we've looked at the recommendations for staffing levels for custodial and maintenance, and currently we have 8 mechanical maintenance positions. One of them is open, so we have 7 people working in an open spot. I think by the numbers, and this is kind of a national average, they recommend 11 positions. And then similarly, 37, I don't remember exactly what the number is, but it's a bit more than that. We're not greatly under the number we should have, but we shouldn't go any lower than what we have for custodians. So one of the reasons, the main reason we're looking at this staffing study is because the number of students has gone down over time.
Right.
But our number in the last 5 years, we haven't reduced any buildings. And our buildings are only getting older, and we're not shutting down and putting away equipment, right? So those needs for maintaining the buildings, both from a maintenance standpoint as well as a custodial standpoint, that's going to be consistent.
Right.
Until such time as if we get to the point somewhere down the road where we close down a building, that's when we would look at reducing the number of maintenance folks and custodians that we have, because there's less equipment, fewer square feet.
Okay. Well, like Bill said, we're in between a rock and a hard place here. But if we give these raises you're talking about, where's that money going to come from? Number one. And number two, what if we don't get anything out of it? Have we talked downtown to the county unemployment office and got them involved to try to get staff, or are we just advertising our own?
Chris, we've been working very closely with CareerLink, and
Right.
sometimes they have been able to find some applicants. But again, we've attended any of their career events through CareerLink, because it's not only just educators. There's all sorts of people looking for employment, and we go to their major event like that they hold over at the county fairgrounds as well, where they bring in, all sorts of not only we're there, but industries there as well. And again, people will walk by and it might be interested in something that we might have like maintenance, but then you have First Quality Hall Bakers and every other business that's in the surrounding areas that ends up picking some of these people up.
Okay.
In terms of where to find the money, $42,000 is about 0.05% of our overall budget. Last year, we were able to surplus old equipment and sell through Municipid, and I think Sam was able to sell like $30,000 worth of stuff. So my
Okay.
point being, I think we can find it. It's of course it's going to make things a little bit tighter, but it's not going to be a huge burden. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say it's simple, but it's not going to be a giant thing to find that much of a difference in our overall budget.
Okay. Cause I'm just thinking, we have the Act 93 people coming. Next
Mhm.
year we have the teachers union contracts. We got to find out where we're getting the money.
Okay.
And we need to really get with Joni on this also.
She's been part of the conversation. She understands. I mean, she's the one that helps get these costs for us.
Mhm.
Oh, what's everybody think?
Well, Chair Chris,
Yeah, Elizabeth.
thank you. Again, I'm going back to the health insurance package comparisons. I definitely, as a board member, want to see that, because I truly believe that the folks that do or have worked here, just in casual conversation, because I live right next door, in the summertime, I say hi, they seem like they really like their job and they've stayed a long time.
Yeah.
So I think that shows me that the culture there is a culture that they liked and they remained, even though they knew they could go somewhere else. But we're looking at a new generation. And yes, we want to be competitive. But again, if our health insurance package is not in balance with the other one, that would be a conversation, a contractual conversation that I don't feel comfortable that we should be talking about right now. So to me, those numbers are really important. With the understanding, I fully support the facilities group. So,
Right. I do also.
so again, I think we're sort of all somewhere on the same page, but it's, to me, that's the big ticket item. And then again, keeping up with the Joneses. We want to be competitive. We want a great culture, because that's why people work here. They don't work here just because they can make more money. I mean, that's the ideal world.
Right.
But again, if we start getting into that pricing war, which is, it's possibly going to happen eventually, because the pool, like Justin said very well, the pool of candidates, this isn't 1990 anymore. It's not 2000. The pool of candidates keeps shrinking. So who has the best culture? Who's offering the best salary? Who's offering the best health benefits? Again, then Bald Eagle next year comes up a little. Then State College is going to come up a little. So that's always going to happen. So again, I'm going back to the health insurance. I'm going back to the culture. And then I feel like I could make a more informed decision. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to say?
In my opinion, some of these questions and some of these things we're talking about, it's going to be so hard to come up and make a decision until we get the job study done by Dr. Redmond. So we know where we're at, what we can add, what we can't add. That job study is very important.
I agree with that.
I mean, we're talking about adding people, giving raises. You know, we're talking about everything on the upside of the line. And ultimately, I mean, we need to make cuts. We need to cut things. So we can't cut if we just keep adding until we know that job study and know what Dr. Redmond's looking for staffing, what he needs for staffing, what he can eliminate for staffing. You know, replace A with B or B with A. Until we know, how do we make a decision on that? You took your microphone off, Chris.
Yep, sorry about that.
Chris,
Dr. Redmond, when's your staffing study gonna be done?
My goal is to have that ready for the board in March. I believe that Dr. Baldino had a question or a comment.
Go ahead, Bill.
yeah, I agree with, John that the staffing study is important, but in reality, we have the apropos part of the staffing study right in front of us. We're short, we're not getting the work done, or we're barely getting the work done. We're going to lose more people. We need to keep that in mind. I'm sure that there's places within the district where we can cut back on things. I'm sure it's just the nature of life. Until you really get down to it and attack it, you've got a lot of fluff. But I don't think we have fluff here from what I'm seeing, and we need to keep that in mind. And if it's going to be a real mess if the buildings start falling apart, in plain simple English,
I understand that, but also understand what Elizabeth said. We need to look at the insurance packages also, and can we do better with them? We need to know that we're doing apples to apples.
Yeah. I agree that in reality that is is the way it is. It's what it's costing us is our salaries and the benefits. However, I am not sure that applies to the average person looking for a job, that they're trying to make ends meet on a week-to-week basis. They're looking at what their hourly wage is.
Right.
I know my whole life I've been working in mechanical, and I do know what Dr. Edmond said is true. You with the maintenance mechanical, you need pre-active or you're going to get hit with the post-active at a point where it's already too late. And if we're manned to the point where we're getting the job done, something's got to give to where pre-maintenance is very important. If you're not checking just for say belts, bearing shivs, on a machine, and you're going to end up burning up a motor or whatever, I just don't know where that fine line is right now without seeing everything else, what we need as far as the amount of people, the amount of the raise, whatever, until we know what the bottom line's going to be. But we do need preventive maintenance. That's very important in the mechanical world.
I agree, and we're part of what we're doing now is there's not been a lot of preventative maintenance in the past, and that's why we're hurting so bad now. You can see that plain as day.
Well, Chris, it sounds like most of us are agreeing about that now. And what we have to decide on is whether we're going to sort of bite the bullet. And if we think that raising the salaries will attract more people and actually get us the people we need, we should do it. I would defer to Justin or Frank to tell us if waiting another month, if waiting another 2 months really is going to be harmful to wait for the overall study. But again, I reinforce, we've got what we need for this right in front of us. We don't need any other study.
I agree with Bill. But with that being said, now I'm just going to throw some numbers out here, but say we give them the $4 an hour raise to take us up equal to our neighboring districts. So we give them $4 an hour, and then come March, time for the job study to be done. Now I'm just throwing numbers out here, so don't whatever. But say as a board, we think we need to lose 10 positions. Dr. Redmond comes along in March and says we're going to lose 3 positions. We're still 7 positions over. So if we're giving out a $4 an hour raise to whatever the number of people is, and we're not cutting what we felt needed cut, or we don't need can be cut, then we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
I'm all for adjusting some wages. But I truly believe we need to wait till the staffing study is done and see where we're at.
100% I agree with that.
And I believe that it would be nice to look at, like Elizabeth said about the insurance, what's that costing us and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And what are people contributing? So I'm just going to ask that, Justin, can you kind of give us some comparison of apples to apples? And I'm not saying we're not doing this, but I'm saying let's wait and see what our staffing situation comes into.
Yeah, I know there's not one of us that don't watch the news. We don't see what's going on. Right now in this country, insurances are astronomical.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very important. Now, I might be putting the horse in front of the buggy per se, but comparisons to the other districts with the insurances, what are we paying for co-pays? What are they paying for co-pays? Because it seems like we're just, with our insurance at Keystone Central, we have that bar set so high already. From what I hear that for say our teachers pay for co-pays to what other districts around us pay for co-pays, we're offering a very good insurance already for Keystone Central.
Right.
I don't know what I'd have to ask, but a teacher at Keystone Central goes to the doctor. What are they paying for co-pays?
If I could just interject real quick, John, I don't want to be rude about that. We're getting a little bit far away from this. We're not talking about insurance. As I think Elizabeth started to point out, we can't really talk about contractual negotiations as part of what we're doing right now. I think that we can come up with some comparisons about what the package is, and so that you know, the insurance coverage for teachers is a little bit different than for support staff. So, you know, the thought about looking at some of our comparison districts and kind of looking at what the benefits package is between the two, I think is pretty valid, and we can try to get that to you as soon as possible, hopefully by the next meeting.
Okay.
I understand. Thank you.
Yep.
Let's just hold this one off then, and maybe we can get some comparisons and look at a better group of numbers at the next meeting. Elizabeth, you good with that?
Yes, sir.
John?
Completely.
Bill?
No, I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay. Well, it's going to be 3-1. I think we need to look at the numbers.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
and the whole
it's 2-1. Elizabeth is an observer.
Okay, well, it's 2-1 then. All right, so let's hold on to this and we can get some more info on it. Moving on, number 3, the Act 44 officer.
We brought this up in the safety and security meeting, but we just wanted to bring this up in personnel as well. When Randy was the Act 44 school safety and security officer coordinator, and so we would like to shift that over to Justin as part of his duties. And so assignment is my job in terms of assigning administrators, but the board has to appoint the Act 44 designee. So we're looking for consensus from this group as well. The security committee, Chris, you can speak to this also, Manny is the chair, but you were there at the meeting, agreed that Justin would be the person that we want to appoint. Again, just wanted to bring it through personnel as well.
Okay. Are we on a public meeting right now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask that when this meeting's over, this is something we should discuss in executive session.
Okay.
Because I have some thoughts and ideas. So at this point, we have an environmental health and safety officer, right? Who is that?
Fetzer, Mike Fetzer.
Mike Fetzer, okay. I'm sure Justin is way overloaded with stuff he has to do. And I know Mike would be a very qualified candidate for this. He does so much with safety and security and everything else. What would be the problem with having him be the Act 44 officer and taking care of that and the safety and security position? That way you're not overloading Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Mike would probably really like to do that because he's been here over 13 years and that is right up his alley.
Yeah, I've thought about that too, actually. And what I haven't had a chance to do yet is do a little bit of due diligence and make sure there's nothing sitting out there in the school code that requires, an administrator or something like that to do it. So give me a chance to kind of poke around and see if there's some flexibility there.
Okay.
That might require, well, I tell you what, whatever the result of that is, could I just bring that to the board? Again, the board has to appoint, and right now we don't have a designated officer, and we're required to have one by school code.
Yeah. Well, I think that as soon as you look into it, I don't see why we can't combine the Act 44 and safety and security position in with the environmental health and safety.
Yep, I'll have to look into that, like I said, and get back to you on it.
I'd be quite sure, but I'm not going to say, Justin, what's your thoughts on us taking part of your workload away?
No, I can make what, have been in the district 20 years, multiple roles, so I can, support wherever I'm directed or as needed.
Okay.
Frank, how long do we have to appoint this designee?
There's nothing specific in state code. It just says there has to be an appointed person. So it doesn't really take up anything specific with if there's a transition from one person to another.
So we are not putting ourselves in a liability problem by not doing this now.
I'm acting as the Act 44 officer, although I have not been board appointed. It's normally this kind of thing happens when someone leaves, the superintendent is responsible for whatever responsibility that is. So I don't think we're open to any more responsibility. It happens in school districts as people transition. I don't think that we should wait for more. I think we should take care of this in the February board meetings.
Okay, I would agree with that. Thank you for your answer.
Okay. Dr. Redmond, I'm going to ask it, you look into the idea of making that a combination with Mike's other duties.
Okay.
And because Mike is so well versed, he does our traffic studies and he takes care of all the radios and everything. And he is so up to date on Act 44 that I think that would be a perfect fit for him.
I appreciate your
So-
input on that. I'm going to look at like I said, I'm just going to scan over, make sure everything's from a legal standpoint that we're covering everything that we need to. I just need to go through all the state laws and maybe even ask the solicitor for some input on this to make sure we're not violating what the school code says.
Because I read through it and it said that the board can appoint who they need. And there really was nothing that I could read in PA 1949 that said he couldn't do it. And like I say, Justin's been here a long time and so is Mike. And I think on the safety and security side, I've known Mike for umpteen years. And I just think that he would be a home run with this. And I think we could actually give him a little extra bump and pay for doing this. And I know that by eliminating, or not eliminating, but with Randy leaving, part of that salary could be put towards this. And I think that would be a home run, and we'd still be saving money.
Okay.
So if you'd check that out, and we'll put this on the back burner, and you can get back with me, and maybe you, me, and Justin and Mike can all talk about it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. John, you good with that?
I am completely 100% good with it. I would just want to wait till more information to find out, because you say about the pay bump. I don't currently know where Mr. Fetzer's at with pay. What I would have to learn more before I just want to hand out more money.
I agree.
But other than that, I am completely confident with Mike Fetzer from what I know of him to take that position.
Okay. Elizabeth.
I think it's brilliant. Good job, Chris.
Okay. I know your vote really is there, but I want to hear from everybody. Bill.
I think that we can make a decision after Dr. Redmond finds out what our legal responsibilities are.
All right, thanks, man. Well, Rachel, let's find out more info on that one first. So let's move on to number 4, the assistant superintendent. Dr. Redmond?
Yeah. So, as you just mentioned, with Randy departing, it's left kind of a hole, and we're scrambling to try to cover all of those duties. As you can see there on these the 2 attachments, I would like to do some realignment. And I know I've mentioned this before, and I would like to take to the full board the idea of having an assistant superintendent. And I want to make this really clear. I don't want to add on to the number of current employees to the district. I want to reassign what Justin is currently doing. Currently, he's director of HR, and he's in charge of federal programs. I would like to reassign that as an assistant superintendent with his letter of eligibility, excuse me, and some reassigned job duties. Again, this wouldn't be adding on another person. It would be just moving him from what he's currently doing to an assistant superintendent job that captures a lot of the same things that he's doing right now. So if you look at that presentation that's attached to the agenda, it would be a realignment of job duties. And, we just finished talking about the safety and security officer. If you look on the second page of that presentation, still in charge of human resources and overseeing any Title IX issues that may come up with employees. He can also help with director and building administrator support. When Randy left, I went from evaluating 8 folks to over 22 or 23 folks, because I picked up all of the school principals and assistant principals, as well as 3 more directors. So that has vastly increased my load and made it so that I can't do some of the other things that I was doing, around community support and getting into buildings as much as I want and so forth. So having that support and being able to have more than just me who's supervising and evaluating the Act 93 would be really helpful. And I think would be more effective district-wide. Again, as it says there on slide number 2, it provides additional support to the community staff and all of our stakeholders. It helps us get to our meeting our district goals, and it would be going back to what it was in 2023.
Okay, my big question is, we didn't have a assistant superintendent when we had a lot more kids.
Yeah.
And we've lost a lot of kids. We've added a lot of staff, even though we don't have the kids that we used to have. But all of a sudden now, this is imperative. We have to have a assistant superintendent.
So if you go back to the time when we didn't have an assistant superintendent, we also didn't have a few other things. And that was, I think, when a lot of the reasons why the public has a dim view of the school district was in place. We didn't have a district curriculum. We didn't have an effective pupil services department. Our performance was low and our growth wasn't very good. There were a lot of problems with the district, and I think that had, to a large extent, had to do with there wasn't enough support in the central office to make sure that we had really firm goals, and we had metrics and ways to measure and hold people accountable for meeting those goals. If you look on the 3rd slide there, it kind of gives you a little bit of a history of how that changed over time. When Mark Kondo was here, he was director of HR, and they moved him up to an assistant superintendent when he earned his letter of eligibility. And then some of those shifts were made. He was able to do some of that supervision, evaluation, and support at the building level so that we could increase that oversight and support of what was going on in the buildings, so that we can now show that there's a difference that we've made because there's changes in culture in the school buildings, that we see all the growth that we're seeing in all of the ways that we're looking to evaluate our performance. So
Okay.
my point is that having that level of support has made a difference in what our school district has been able to do.
Okay.
Ultimately, I know, and I completely agree, that saving money is an important aspect of our planning going forward and the changes that we're making. Not replacing Dr. Zangara, going down the total number of central office staff, is something like a $230,000 savings. My proposal is that if we shift around some of these duties, that we increase what Justin is getting by a little bit, but we're still saving $225,000 between last year and this year. I'm sorry, this year and next year.
Could you explain that? Because I'm totally lost on that. We're talking almost a $250,000 for one person for a position.
Yeah, that's between salary and benefits. That was Dr. Zangara wasn't making $230,000, but between his pay and benefits, that was the total cost of employing that individual.
Okay.
John, were you raising your hand? I couldn't
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
When I came on board here, the very first night we had an executive meeting, and that was
John, you can't talk about
that's
an
what I'm
executive
thinking.
meeting.
That's what I just thinking. But it was my understanding with talking to other board members that we're not going to fill the superintendent position after the resignation was accepted. Now, with that being said, a couple times you made the comment that we're not going to hire new positions. All we're going to do is reorganize.
Yes.
Reorganizing to me is just changing the furniture in the same house. We're still putting the same out instead of making the cuts that we need to make. We're going to reorganize, and all we're doing is changing the furniture around in the same house. I am strongly against an assistant superintendent. That position is not needed.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm done.
Bill, you got any thoughts on this? Bill.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It took me a while to get the microphone unmuted. I'm
That's
sorry.
all right.
My thoughts are I'm confused and I'm in the middle here. If, Dr. Redmond's comments about the increased workload that he had has to be taken into consideration. If we're overloading him, it's probably going to decrease the quality all the way around, which we don't want. A reorganization basically, it sounds like to me, we're asking Justin to do a little bit more, going to pay him a little bit more, and we're giving him a new title. That's a lot different than creating a new position. Does that mean we're not going to, and this is, I think, important, Dr. Redmond, does that mean we're not going to add another administrator?
That is correct.
So basically we're giving Justin a lot more work and a title and a little bit of money.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and we're saving money. We're giving him a lot less than what it was costing us for Randy.
Correct.
All right. Well, I think it's something we should consider then.
So,
and I would take exception to. We can't talk completely about what was in that meeting, that executive committee meeting, but I think I take exception with a lot of board members not wanting to hire another person. It was principally one board member. That's it. Thank you.
So maybe this will help with the clarity. Last year, we had 7 administrators between myself and Randy as the 2 commissioned officers and the rest of central office. We had 7 administrators in the central office. With moving Christina into a building and Randy's leaving, that's 5 administrators in the central office. So I'm not looking to go to 6. I'm looking to keep it at that number.
Okay, well, on page 2, under the major job responsibilities, once again, the second one, safety and security in the Act 44. I think before we do anything on this, we need to see if that's something we can relieve from this position and put it over.
So, Chris, rather than getting into the really specifics on that one, I agree. I'm going to look into that, and that may come off this list, but I need to do my due diligence and make sure we're following state code, right? That's all I'm saying about that, is that,
right.
that might come off of that one. So I think I hear you on that. That might be different. Sometimes the board wants us to pay attention to our surrounding districts and make comparisons, and sometimes you don't. But just for your information, on page 6 is looking at our surrounding districts that both do and do not have, or that do have assistant superintendents, even though their student enrollment numbers are much smaller. So if you look at Du Bois, for instance, is about the same size as us, a little bit smaller. Their poverty rate is about the same size as ours. I don't know their tax assessed value off the top of my head, but they have an assistant superintendent, and they're about the same size as us. And then you can see Jersey Shore, Penns Valley, South Williamsport, Hollidaysburg, Phillipsburg, Bald Eagle area. All of those are smaller than us, and they have an assistant superintendent.
Okay.
And that's not necessarily because school districts like throwing money out the window. It's because year after year, the number of things that we're required to do from an administrative standpoint is increased. There are more and more unfunded mandates that are coming from the state every year. And that all falls to central office to take care of. There's more things that we have to do now than we had to do 5 years ago or 10 years ago. More reports, more trainings, more things that have to get done. And so it's more than the quantity of work has increased, even though the funding hasn't gone to support those increased responsibilities and things that we have to do.
Okay.
Chris, if I could ask another question.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Edmond said about recommending Justin Eby for the assistant superintendent.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 10 minutes ago, he suggested making him the person for the Act 44. So you add the Act 44, you add the assistant superintendent, you add his responsibilities he already has. He's not going to be able to put as much commitment into what he, just for say we make him the assistant superintendent. How much time is he going to be able to concentrate on the Act 44 or vice versa? I don't know Justin Eby from the next guy. I don't know. He might be the best guy in the whole world. But by God, we can't overload him putting this and this and this and hey, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. In the meantime, he doesn't have the time to focus on what he needs to focus on.
And
yeah, John, I hear you there. And that's one of the things in that change. So currently, Justin is in charge of federal programs. So that's something that we would offload from him. And that's actually far more time intrusive than is the Act 44 safety and security. So we would transition that to another administrator in the district so that it would free up that time so he can ensure that he has enough of himself to give to all of the roles.
Okay, so putting what he's currently doing onto another administrator, I'm assuming you mean that's a current one because you said there would not be another one.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Added, and that just goes maybe to stupid whatever that I think, but that all you're doing shuffling the furniture around the same living room and not making any changes.
Well, that's not correct. Again, we went from seven central office administrators down to 5. So we moved one of the central office administrators. We took all of her duties and had her become an elementary principal at one of our small elementary schools. So we have another small elementary school, and that is often is the case when you have small elementary schools, those principals pick up central office duties as well. So that's what we would do in this case, is we would have that person pick up the title responsibilities. So, and this happens, back to the idea that we're losing students. As we lose students, we reduce the number of administrators. The number of jobs is the same, so we have to figure out a way to redistribute all of those jobs. The furniture that you're talking about are the things that we have to keep this because the state said we had to keep them. The number of people who are living in the house is getting smaller. We went from 7 down to 5.
I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but by goodness, I can't wait till the employment study, job study, whatever you call it, comes out in March. I am so much looking forward to that.
Okay, me too.
I'm done, Mr. Chris.
Okay. I think we need to, I hate to say hold this one, but we need to find out if we can shift the Act 44 and the safety and security duties over to Mr. Fetzer.
So
And
Chris, I
then
don't,
we can decide where we got to
Yeah.
move forward on this.
yeah, regardless of whether or not we would position Act 44 with Justin or with Mike, my request for an assistant superintendent would remain the same.
Okay.
I mean, the money might change a little bit, but the other things take up far more time in terms of the support with other administrators and what's going on in the school. That takes up far more time than the Act 44 work.
Okay, well, I'm trying to help Justin too. Justin, you've not said a word. And I mean, maybe publicly is not the place to do it, but I mean, how's your workload, buddy?
So again, all of my positions, the workload has been hefty, but I guess haven't said anything because I wanted to take in to hear views in different things. But you know, and I think it's a good idea to look at the Act 55. I certainly wouldn't shy away from any help from Officer Fetzer because again, it's not a secret. He's well versed in NIMS and with emergency management, EMA, you know, the whole 9 yards. But there's other aspects of that as far as behavioral health awareness, suicide and bullying awareness. It's all just not the safety and security. And then there's the staff training, a lot of the stuff that rolls into the HR component. It is there's a lot of overlay. So I think it would be good to look at that and refine some of the responsibilities within there, but there is a lot of crossover, and there's things that are staff related and PDE guidelines as far as the training and the tracking of it and what you need to do and all that kind of stuff. So just like with federal programs, I work very closely with our Director of Curriculum and Innovations because again, the staffing and having the people in place and it's tied to the multi-tiered support systems that we have in place for interventions and who's given those interventions and in the tracking of it. So there's a, you know, it's not as easy to say it's just safety security or not as easy just to say federal programs. There's multiple layers there. So there's plenty of work and support to go around. But the other thing as far as when you look at job loads, obviously there's busy times, and then there are times, you know, I still have tried to continue to stay in touch on the instructional end and do walkthroughs. You don't get a lot of HR directors that are doing instructional walkthroughs, but I think that is important to our buildings and to our faculty and staff to have that support as well. So there's a lot of shared, I guess, a team approach. There aren't a whole lot of eyes when you're working in the school system. It's more the we or the team approach.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I agree with that. And we need to, as he's redirecting all these positions, we need to keep that team approach at the forefront.
That's always been very important to me.
We don't even know if Mike would be interested in this. We'd have to ask him.
Yeah, and also, you know, to talk and see, you know, what does that look like? And again, I'm all for, again, in HR, playing people on their strengths. If he could support in some way, absolutely, that lessens the load, but it also gives you someone who is well-versed, especially with the emergency side of it, but may not be well-versed with the training and staffing and tracking and all that stuff that really comes through, right now comes through our office, through the HR office.
Right. All right. Well, I think we can investigate that and even bring Mike into the mix and even talk to him. I thought of him because I know his background, and I've been very well versed with Mike and worked with him for a lot of different things through fire, EMS, and EMA. I think it'd be worth just talking to him. He may not even be interested.
He and I
But
have
I'm
had some
looking-
initial conversations about that already, Chris. So this isn't,
You have?
it's not a new idea. Yeah. And
Okay.
again, I need to vet the idea of what all is required. As Justin is saying, it's more than just the EMA perspective about how school districts work. There's
Right.
a lot more that goes into it.
Oh, I know that.
So I just, again, want to make sure that whatever recommendation I make is fully vetted, and I'm making sure that it's not going to put the district in any kind of liability or trouble or anything like that.
Okay. Well, let's look at that and talk to him, and if we need to, we can do an executive session and sit down with him and talk with him. Everybody good with that?
Yeah, the only thing I like to say, Dr. Edmond just said his recommendation for assistant superintendent would stay the same with Justin Eby. I just like to say my recommendation will stay the same. I don't believe we need that position filled.
Okay. I respect that. Bill, you good with hanging on till he finds out if we can move some of these things around and maybe take some weight off of Justin?
I think that it's irrelevant I don't think we need to do some of those investigations. I think if Frank says he needs that kind of help, we should give it to him. And I think in reality, we're not doing anything but letting Frank do what his job is to assign administrative duties, and we're changing a title. So, obviously I'm going to get outvoted 2-1 no matter what happens. So, but I think that, I disagree strongly with John. If Frank says he needs somebody, whether give him the title or not, he's going to need to get somebody that can function in that way. So do what you want.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to see if Mr. Fetzer can do it.
So I'm just looking here at the state law.
Oh,
real quick.
I want to say one more thing. I'm sorry. No, Chris, the business about the 44 thing has nothing to do with whether or not Frank needs an assistant superintendent and how he distributes the work.
Bill, the Act 44 and all that is part of what Frank has listed. That's why we're discussing it. That's part of what has assigned to the duties of the superintendent, assistant superintendent.
And also, Chris, as I said, that whether or not that line is in there, my recommendation for having an assistant superintendent would remain. Now, whether or not that is assigned to Justin or somebody else, we can figure that part out. But the overall idea of having some support, not just for me, but for the principals and for the directors, I think is a vital part of how our teams work. Just as a side note, real quick, I'm looking at section 1309B of the school code, and it says the chief school administrator of a school entity shall appoint a school administrator as a school safety and security coordinator for the school entity. So it's not a board action. I'll have to look at what our policy says, but I'm just reading this straight off the state code.
I had state code up earlier and it said that, but then at the bottom it said something about the board is the one that makes a decision on who that person is.
Well,
I'm
why
not
don't we
saying-
find out? Why don't we find out from a lawyer what the law says? That way, instead of arguing about it.
Well,
I think
nobody's
we're
arguing. We're
spending our
just
work.
discussing.
I think we're spinning our wheels and wasting time.
Chair Chris,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill has it. I think the committee has a really good vision. I think Dr. Redmond has the vision. So I think it's a good idea to consider just let Dr. Redmond and Justin find out the particulars and then they'll just get back to us, right?
And that's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay. Good.
I'm trying to make everybody happy with that. And that's why I said we need to look at this a little bit. I'm not saying no, absolutely not. I'm saying we need to investigate it. That's all.
I'm good
So,
with that.
Dr. Redmond, would you just kind of look at this a little bit more? I know you say you need him regardless. We need to put it to the full board to see if they agree. And then we go from there.
Okay. Yes, I will look at that. I'll consult with Mr. Lindsay to make sure that I have the right way of thinking about this in terms of who can act as an Act 44 officer. And then I will probably update this committee via email, just so you have the information, and the results of that will be in our conversation in the work study in February.
Okay. I have one question. On the bottom of page 4, it says overall savings to the district is $225,857.34 per year by eliminating a position. What
Yeah.
position is being eliminated?
Randy's position, Randy's assistant superintendent position. That's part of that move of not having as many central office administrators going forward as we have in the past.
Okay. But you're just sliding those duties over to Justin.
So yes, well, doing some redistribution kind of throughout. It's not just piling everything that Randy did onto Justin. That's not what we're saying here.
Okay. Because I don't see where we're eliminating a position.
Okay, so earlier this year, in the central office, we had myself, Megan, Justin, Liz, Joni, and Christina. Christina moved into a school building, right, as a principal. Randy left. I'm not replacing either one of those positions, the number of people. So Justin, as the director of HR, would continue doing his work as HR, and we'd take some stuff off of his plate, put some of the stuff that Randy did onto his plate, and at the same time change his title from director of HR and federal programs to assistant superintendent, overseeing human resources and some of the other duties that you saw on that spreadsheet.
Okay.
So the total number of humans working in central office is going down by 1.
Okay.
Actually 2 if you take Christina into account.
All right, but she moved to a building, but she's still an administrator and everything else, so that position didn't get lost. It's still there.
Yeah, she's right. She's acting as a building principal and doing the people services job.
Okay.
But in terms of the people working in the central office, taking Randy out of the mix. That
Okay.
position.
All right. So, let's bring it to the whole board and see what they say.
Okay.
All righty. With that said, I would like to see both on number 3 and number 4. Is there any way that you could get us the MOUs for job descriptions for both of them?
the job description, the proposed job description for a assistant superintendent is there. And again,
Okay.
the Act
That's-
44 thing.
Go ahead. That's,
You said number 4, right? You said number 3 and 4?
yeah,
Yeah, number 4, assistant superintendent. That the draft assistant superintendent job description is there. It's the second attachment.
right. Yeah, I just saw that.
Act 44
And-
officer is, I can get that to you. It's more a list of duties than a full job description because it's rarely a standalone. That's the only thing that person does. There's not that much
Right.
work to do. So
Right, I
get you that
agree with
list.
that.
I can get you the list of responsibilities per state code of what that person has to do.
Okay. Then we can move that forward and see where that lands at. The next thing down is see discussion future topics. Does anybody have any future topics?
At the beginning of this meeting, I put a motion in to be discussed.
Right. So, can you remind me what that motion was, John, please?
I wanted to move to have a motion added that we discuss the Act 93 school board solicitor for representation for the Act 93.
Okay. I'd like to learn about that also. So Dr. Redmond, I'd like to, John made a motion and I would second it to have that person come in so that we can get this on the board agenda to discuss. And we can learn about this Act 93 stuff before we have to face it.
Yeah, my recollection from the board meeting is that it was approved by the board to have someone from King Spry come in, and there was some confusion about dates and whether or not it was an open public meeting or if it was a learning session for the board. I think it's just a matter of scheduling. The board has already approved to have that learning session happen.
Okay, yeah, because that happens next week.
Chair Chris?
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's all taken care of. It's a public special meeting. Christine was supposed to, or she already has publicized it. It's February 17th at 5 p.m. He will be zooming in, John will, and it's a training session, Q&A for the board, and it will be recorded.
Okay,
All right, so we're just waiting for the contract, which I'm assuming we'll see during the work session. This has to be signed.
okay, so John, does that cover what you want?
You're muted, John.
John? you're
Yes,
muted.
just so it's on an agenda for us to discuss.
Okay, we
Chris,
good to go? We good to go with that then, everybody?
Chris,
Yeah,
all right. I still think this is a waste of money for the lawyer, but I would say before you go to this meeting, everybody should have read the statute. If you haven't read it yet, read it.
okay. Well, I understand that. I've read a lot of it, but I'd like to know some ins and outs from a professional because we're gonna have this contract coming up very shortly.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear in the statute, but there's a couple of definitions maybe, but I think we're wasting money. And if we're doing this without reading the statute, well, that's a really bad thing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take that under advisement, but we're gonna move forward with it just to make sure we understand everything, and if anybody has any questions, we're gonna do it. It's already scheduled to be on the agenda, and it was already voted and okayed on. So we're gonna follow through with it. I think any education that a brand new board can get is very good.
Chair Chris?
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand. So when we meet to set the work session agenda for February,
Yes.
the personnel committee meeting is asking for a line item discussion on whether or not they want to entertain the idea to hire a solicitor to represent the school board during the Act 93 discussions. Is that what I'm
Right.
hearing? Okay, so
Yes.
that'll be in the minutes that way.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So the committee, with the exception of Dr. Baldino, is recommending that we bring this lawyer on board to help us with negotiations on the Act 93 and to learn about it.
Okay, so that'll be a discussion item for the work session for the board to decide whether or not, as a group, they want to hire a solicitor to represent them for the Act 93
Correct.
discussions. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I got it. I wrote it down.
Rachel, you good with that for the minutes?
So may I ask a clarifying question? I want to make sure I heard what I heard. So you're saying to have a lawyer come in and talk with the board about what Act 93 is and all that sort of thing, and when we get into negotiations with Act 93, you want a lawyer to represent the district?
Yes.
Yeah, we already have the training set
Yeah.
up with King Spry, the public
Yep.
special meeting for training for board to be recorded February 17th. We just need the contract so it can be signed. That's already been approved. Now, from what I understand, the personnel committee is asking that we put on the work session agenda an item for the board to discuss on whether or not they want, it could be, who knows who it's going to be? Who knows? Whether or not the school board collective wants to hire or not hire a solicitor to represent them during the Act 93 discussions. That's a total issue. That's a separate issue. That's what I heard.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. So just making sure that I heard that the second issue was there. Okay.
Okay,
Understood.
super terrific. Good idea, John.
Okay, we all clear? Rachel, are you good with that? Did Rachel leave us?
No, she's there.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything?
Chair Chris, we have
Yes.
one more item on the agenda to set goals. You can postpone it. You guys can do whatever you want. But the other item was added to the agenda was for the committee to set goals.
One thing I'd like to do, is we need to set goals. But we also need to, just having a quarterly meeting is obviously not gonna work. We're gonna have to have some other meetings. We have a lot of very important stuff coming up. A lot of contract negotiations and stuff going on. So one thing I would like to do is propose that, I hate to add another meeting to the schedule because, man, we're beating that out, but with all the negotiations we're going to have to handle right now that have to be done before June, I think that we should have another meeting in February. John, what's your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. I've said since the beginning, a quarterly meeting for personnel is not enough.
Okay. John, do you have a date that you think would work?
I would have
And-
to look at the already scheduled calendar and see. I can't sit here and tell you without looking.
All right. Bill, what's your idea on that? Hello?
Yeah. What do we have to do before June besides the Act 93?
That's the only contract I'm aware of that we have due by June.
Yeah. And, I think we can, I don't think we need a lot of meetings. If you want to have a meeting in February with a decent agenda, then that's fine. But, I don't think we need it. I think we need to decide, we need to either as a committee or probably better as an entire board in executive session, discuss what we're willing to, well, we got to start. First thing with the 93, if you've read the statute, is we need to, find out, put the, proper criteria in place. And then we need to sit down and talk to them. It's not a collective bargaining session. It's a discussion. And of course, from my point of view, the only thing that we need to learn is what constitutes a meet and discuss in good faith.
And I agree with that.
After we find out what the Act 93 people want, we discuss among ourselves what we can do to meet their requests.
Well, and that's exactly it. That's why I think a February meeting, and to invite them to come in and collectively sit and talk with us. And let's learn what they're about.
Well, I don't think that it should be the committee. The statute says the board. It doesn't say a committee of the board.
Well, it comes to personnel, and then personnel works it out with them, and then we bring it to the whole board as the way it's supposed to work.
I mean, personally, I don't think that satisfies the statute. The statute says a meet and discuss in good faith with the board. And I apologize, since I didn't know this was coming up. I don't have the statute in front of me. I am doing it from memory, having read it before.
I have the statute in front of me, and I can read the relevant paragraph if you're interested.
I would love that, Frank, please.
Okay, this is Article 1164 of the School Code. I am down in paragraph C. It says, school employers, upon the written request of a majority of the school administrators in the district, shall be required to meet and discuss in good faith with the school administrators on administrator compensation prior to the adoption of the compensation plan.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Thank you. If I may be, you're the chair, Chris. Okay, but
Yeah.
this is technically not on the agenda. So you're the
Right.
chair, though. You're the chair. But that's why this training, all those kind of little details, that's what the training with King Spry, John, is for February
Yeah.
17th. So be back to the goal setting. I guess, did I hear you want to table that? Or are you going to set goals tonight? Because it's on the agenda. So do you want to table it? What do you folks want to do?
I want to set goals to where we become fluent with this. I want to set goals to where it's not the board against administration or anything else. I want to set goals where we all work together collectively as a team for what is best for the students, the staff, the taxpayers. Those are my goals, to get it out so we're all in agreement and on a good path. With that said, bringing the Act 93 administrators in so that we can talk to them as a personnel committee, because that's part of why we're on the committee, I think is a good idea, so that they can discuss stuff with us, and then we iron something out and we bring it to the whole board, as has happened for years past. We got to get everybody working together as a team, the board, the administrators, everything. This stuff about it's the board against the administrators is wrong. We need to be working together as a team. And that's my goal, is, if anything, is to set it up to where everybody is on the same page and working together. That starts with us meeting with the Act 93 leaders and seeing what they want and trying to set an example of how well this board can work together with them. That's my goal.
I think we're getting off topic there. You're pretending that, that's not the object, or wasn't the object of any of us. Again, Frank.
So
please,
setting that goal is
excuse
setting
me,
that,
excuse me, Frank. Again, the statute says the board, does it not?
The actual language is school employers, but earlier it says school employer shall mean a board of school directors, the area
Okay.
career and technical school board of directors, or the intermediate unit board of directors. So school employer does mean a board of school directors.
Okay, thank you. So I'm simply saying that, in my opinion, to comply with the statute, we should indeed have if we get in writing a request from 50% of the Act 93 employees, we should indeed sit down and discuss with them. This language of the statute is in good faith. To me, that means without any ulterior motives, and honesty, and with honesty, and try to figure out where we can go. I don't think it's something that should be pigeonholed in your committee, Chris.
well, Bill, nobody's pigeonholing anything. If you listen to what I just said about setting a goal, is to sit down and talk with them and try to get everything worked out, and then we bring the whole board in. There's nothing wrong with that. Unless you're against trying to get everybody on the same page.
No, see, I am sorry, Chris. That is not a logical projection there. You want to do it your way. You want to have it in the committee so you can control it. I'm saying it should be done in front of the whole board, the way the statute requires. Now, I also recognize that I'm going to get outvoted 2-1, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what we should be doing.
Well, that's what we are doing. Nobody's trying to control anything, Bill. Sorry, I take offense to that. And if you don't like the fact that we want to try and get everything worked out, then maybe this spot's the wrong place. We're trying to work it out, and you're against that.
No, we're not trying to work it out. You're trying to get it done the way you want it. I'm simply saying we should have that discussion with whoever the Act 93 people choose to represent them, and it should be in front of 9 people or as many that can show up.
It's going to be, Bill.
No, it's not, Chris. You keep 3. We can go back and forth with this. If we do it in the committee, we're not, we would need to redo it with the whole board, in my opinion, to make it, to comply properly with the statute.
Okay, then why do we have a personnel committee, Bill?
The personnel committee's got nothing to do with Act 93. We have to comply with Act 93, not with what our policies are. Personnel committee is set up as a policy of this board. Well, sometimes the policies have to be, you have to remind oneself that the policies have to be in compliance with the law and the various statutes and regulations.
Frank,
Don't try to say we don't need it. We don't, the personnel committee is not needed to do that. This is a matter of 9 people need to sit down and hear what they have to say without intervening filters. And then those 9 people will discuss what they think, how they think they can proceed. And I think that will be a fairer thing too.
Okay, Frank, has the personnel committee ever had anything to do in the past with Act 93?
I have not been here. So the Act 93 agreement is 5 years old. So the last time this came up, I was not here. If I could, I wonder if we can look at this as maybe 2 different things. So Chris, the concept of team building and making sure that we're all rowing in the same direction, I think is absolutely what needs to be central to the work of the board. And I think that there's a statutory requirement for the board to meet when they do the meet and greet. I don't think
Right.
so. So those two things both those things can be true simultaneously, right? So if we want to meet with Act 93 and talk about team building, cool. I don't know that that needs to be the same thing as the Act 93 meet and greet discussion. So maybe it makes sense for us to get the guidance from the person from King Spry about Act 93 and all that sort of thing, and talk about whether or not the initial conversation should be situated in the committee, or if it is as the law seems to say, which is a hard requirement that the meet and greet happens with the board.
Right. I'm with you on that. Because Bill said in multiple meetings before with other groups too, it's going to be 2-1, it's going to be 2-1. But I'm tired of hearing that argument. I think we need to be working together.
Chris, we are trying to work together, but don't pretend. You made the mistake of making your plans in front of people that reported it to me. You tried to set everything up so I would be outvoted in every committee I was on. You did it, own up to it, and stop trying to pretend.
No, Bill, that has never happened.
Excuse me.
That has never happened. And Bill, if that's your attitude, then maybe you need to go on to another committee.
Dr. Redmond, is there anything else on the agenda that you folks had?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Chris, you're the chair of the committee.
Yeah, and I agree. This meeting needs to be adjourned and it's over.
There's no motion required for adjournment.
That's right. So I'm going to say at 4:51, this meeting's done.
I'll see you in
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
facilities.